Welcome back. As we speak, Team WE and TSM are settling in on stage for our final clash of the evening. Now both squads sit at 2 and 3. And while SKT is actually locked in their spot for the knockout stage with that victory there, of course, again, the race is still on for the final 3 spots. Going to be hard to top a 15-kill game put together by Peanut, but I'm sure these teams are going to try. Jat, I want your prediction down the line here. Who do we think is going to take it, TSM, WE, and why?
This is tough. I mean, both these teams lost to the Marines and SKT. And COD taught me last year that NA performance is inversely proportional to expectations. And I have a lot of hope right now. So I'm going to ignore that rule because hope is where the heart is. But generally speaking, they beat WE beforehand. I think they've cleaned up a lot in their gameplay, at least today. Sven Skaren is playing better. And if he doesn't die in the early game, Bjergsen is active. Same story as against G2. Not to mention they've already beaten WE once. I got to go TSM.
We got TSM Jat 2 games in a row on the day. Papa Smithy,
why are we only predicting these 2 games? We're setting me up or something.
I know, we're setting you up for it. Anyway, Papa Smithy, what do you got for me?
I mean, I was on the TSM hype train earlier, but I'm actually going to take a left turn. I'm actually going to say WE here. I think largely, and you even seem surprised for Skaren.
But 100% I'm surprised.
Honestly, I've seen WE's early games when they've looked polished, look great, and I think that's the sort of early game that can take TSM off their chops, and if they go for hyper carry, that hasn't worked for them either. So I'm looking for WE to clean things up. I feel like if they can do that, they should pick up the victory. So going with my heart says WE.
All right, well then you're the tiebreaker, but you got a surprise look on your face when he says Team WE, so I have a feeling I know where you're going.
Okay, to preface it, basically, if both teams played at their best, I think that Team WE would win. I think they had a bot lane that went through Uzi. They have a mid laner who specializes in absorbing pressure from superstars. We've got Rookie, and CA knows how to deal with that.
I heard an if there, though, for Skaren.
We had the best jungler in the LPL. But, and the if, unfortunately, I think TSM are going to play closer to their standard of highest domestic than Team WE. They're just way too inconsistent right now. They're all over the board. I don't know what to expect from them. And I feel like I got a good read on TSM right now, and they have a good read on themselves.
Within this tournament, you're more confident with the way the TSM is playing.
Currently,
All
yes.
right, that's enough out of us because we got to get to our final game of the day. So let's send it over to Quickshot and the guys.
Thank you very much, Dash. I am joined by the guys, Gandalf and Frodo. We're about to jump into the
hold your horses there, Gollum. All right, game coming up here. WE versus TSM. Azale, what do you think right there, man?
I mean, we already got the play-by-play, so.
Well, look, it is my precious to introduce Champ Select as we're about to jump into Team WE and TSM. Earlier today, TSM picked up a pretty convincing win.
Yeah.
NA greater than EU. They punished G2's mistakes over
Not
and
even
over.
close.
Will they keep that flow going?
Let's not dwell on the past, guys. I think that's important here.
It's good to live in the present here, Crepo. And let's talk about the draft, because to me, I think so much of TSM's success has been decided by the pick and ban. I think that they have, defaulted to some pretty poor strategies for their strengths, and I think that top lane has been pretty exploitable throughout MSI. I want to see TSM drafting to their strengths. Give the picks to Hanser.
Will Hanser be good on anything other than Kennen and Rumble? Kennen's already been banned out, and we got to see what happens next.
Also, is 957 going to pick a horrible Jace matchup against Dumpster, leaving Team WE also with a tankless composition? Because that is how TSM exploited that matchup last time. So that's definitely something we need to keep an eye on.
It is. I mean, you can see both teams with a lot of focus here on top lane. The Ivern obviously has been taken away. Sven Skaren's other preference would be Lee Sin. We'll see if TSM is willing to give that over to Condi.
I would almost want to see like a range support ban here by TSM. And then they can trade one range support for the Lee Sin. Get that one. The problem is they have been playing Braum kind of only, and they don't really want to buy into that range support meta.
Karma and Lulu available.
Yeah.
Ivan was banned away, so it looks like they're going to steal the Lee Sin from Sven.
And I mean, the one problem with this for TSM is they're not a team that really wants to play double shielding support.
Yes,
GA
exactly.
will play one of the others. So, if you take Lulu and you don't take Karma, you could see Xie pick up that Karma for bot lane or for mid lane.
Now they have to steal the Lulu away, not because it's a great champion, but because otherwise W is doing exactly what you just said, Azale. They run double shields, aggressive jungler, you can match that in the early game, and they'll just play entirely around Mystic. That is a strategy TSM have tried once around Wild Turtle, but it didn't work. Not because, in my opinion, Wild Turtle was the problem. It was actually in that game that Hanser and Svensson were dropping the ball.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But that said, I don't think it's playing to TSM's strengths to run those sorts of compositions. So I would prefer to see, more solo lane focused game.
And to get that, you can also just focus on getting mid-prio somehow It's quite hard into the Karma flex though. That would mean you'd have to pick maybe Talia on the side of Bjergsen, then double ban some strong matchups against it, forcing that you can always push mid, and then you counter pick your top lane as last. I think that would actually be a decent big ban.
And Talia, you know, that's the run back from their original series. It was Talia for Bjergsen versus Xie on that Karma, and Bjergsen was able to have so many strong Weaver's walls, not even about the roams necessarily, but about cutting people off and creating opportunities for the team.
All right, let's find out what TSM decides to opt into. We're about to jump into phase 2 here. It was the Karma Caitlyn locked in, and then we can see which role Team WE and TSM will squeeze respectively.
And if you have to early pick, Caitlyn actually pairs well with Karma, because if you lose her as a flex pick to the mid lane and you're forced to pick a remaining melee support, Caitlyn farms quite adequately 1v2 in the lane, meaning that you can still kind of make do with that. Sometimes you have a Karma flex pick, but due to the nature of bot lane matchups, you're kind of forced to have her locked in bot lane, otherwise you lose the lane too hard.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I am expecting now TSM to focus bans to squeeze out one of the roles, which will then first pick in the second round of picks, then leave their other solo lane pick for the counter pick, and thus trying to get advantage in both of the solo lanes.
And then you can see, what do you have to pick still? Mid and top lane, and because the enemy has a flex pick mid, I don't think it makes any sense to squeeze mid. So yeah, definitely plays into their strength playing on Hanser. Just squeeze the top lane, get him a favorable matchup.
Well, top lane continues to be the focus here. Fiora, Rumble taken off the table, so a lot of tanks still up and available. Kennen was removed, Kled, Shen was removed, so...
Fizz is still a big player in the top lane right now that we need to watch for. Obviously more of a counter pick rather than just a blind pick.
And we have to remember that Bjergsen can flex that to mid, so TSM could pick that up in this next pick if they want to go for it, and leave WE without the confidence to know where it's going.
Yeah, that could be the blocker to the Syndra potentially.
All right, one game played for Hornstar on that Fizz. Has played it already here. So Malzahar was the next ban for TSM.
Yeah, because Xie has a history of playing the Karma in the mid lane, and obviously that leaves Malzahar as a decent support. Also, just instantaneous engage there, quite strong in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and I don't really like the champion, but it's a strong pick for Ben because it is something that he is very comfortable on, and I think it's also something that warps your gameplay so much that TSM is willing to throw a ban at it to not have to build all these QSSs.
I think WE wants to play LeBlanc now, because they say, you know what? LeBlanc's banned. They would want to play LeBlanc, but it's banned right now, because that usually with the Nami ban, it tells them, we don't want you to flex this Lulu to mid lane, but flexing Lulu to mid only kind of happens with LeBlanc, so I'm actually quite confused why they ban out the Nami.
All right, can Hornstar lock in the Galio? I love shoutcasting this champion, has not played that once this year, and as the timer runs down, there's your top laner.
And I do think this makes sense in the context of this draft, because if you look at what are the top laners that are probably pretty high priority left over for 957, it's something like Nautilus, it's something like Gragas. Both of those are dealt with very easily by Galio. He can push in, he loves itemizing towards MR early on, but the Fizz may be a problem.
One game played, Talia was a potential pick for Bjergsen early in the draft. Now that it's locked in for Xie, where does TSM go? Will he take the Lulu? Or will he pivot and pick something else?
Oh, I think they need damage in this draft.
They definitely need to pivot. I don't think picking Lulu mid here is the right choice.
I would be really surprised. I think that TSM's comp would be pretty low on damage, on consistent damage in a fight. If you do go Lulu mid, you're relying so much on Wild Turtle. This is essentially just a protect the turtle type composition once again, which is where they fell short before.
Also, what else would you play in the bottom lane? Lulu is actually fine in dealing with the relentless push from Ashe and Caitlyn right there. Lulu Karma can do, Lulu Ashwater can do just fine. Maybe lose slightly, and they can just give Bjergsen his favorite pick.
So one cool thing about Ryze and Galio is this is a way into the backline for the Galio. You can actually set up that Realm Warp. Galio hops in, starts channeling his taunt. You pop out, and you can drop that taunt off pretty much immediately. So that is some backline access, some disruption, and an added way in for Galio.
It's going to be difficult to catch a Lisa and a Fizz and a Talia, who have a fair amount of mobility as well, but let's find out what TSM can do. They've got that traditional tank. They've got some grouping power in this 5-man squad.
Yeah, was he Svenskern on Kha'Zix? He failed against SKT because he lost his flash early on and then still went for familiar gank patterns that left him flashless and obviously with no escape. He does have the opportunity to gank both top and mid lane because both these laners bring their own crowd control effects to the table. That is absolutely necessary if you want to get those ganks off early with Kha'Zix.
How good is TSM at shutting down the 1-3-1 setup? that could be put into play by WE with Fizz and Talia in respective side lanes.
I mean, it's something that I think you can answer with the Rise somewhat, and Galio can definitely hang on. I don't think that he's an easy champion to actually dive, but they will probably lose pressure as the game goes on.
Yeah, lane-to-lane mobility has been a strategy like in the last year, you know, with Tom Kench and Rise compositions. Galio Rise compositions do something similar too, especially if you put the core unit, the 3-man in the center. Rise can always join from top to mid, Galio can join from bottom mid. However, the last time TSM played 1-3-1, they were having issues getting Hanser to the fights at the right time, or getting the 4-man squad to play passive, waiting for Hanser to get pressure. So that's something they hopefully have refined for this game.
Well, let's see how much pressure Hanser can apply as we load up for the last game here of day 3. It's Team WE from the LPL taking on Team Solo Mid from the North American LCS to set the scene once more. 2 wins and 3 losses. The first stage of the round robin is wrapped, and we are starting the back half. A win here will tie you up with G2 in that 3rd, 4th spot, and a loss will put you down in 5th, 6th. So there is a lot on the line at the end of day 3.
And you can definitely tell who has the courage and the confidence in the AD carry matchup when you look at the items. If you're a confident AD carry, you go Dorn's Potion. If you're not sure, you may eat a lot of poke, may misstep sometimes, you go Longsword 3 pots. Both starts are definitely viable. Sven, for example, will always go Dorns, even in Blade of the Ruined King rush matchups.
Well, Sven definitely one of the more confident AD carries playing here at MSI.
And I think rightfully so. I mean, he's shown that he deserves to have the confidence from his team to rely on him in late game.
If I remember correctly, was it G2 against SKT when G2 were unable to break the wave clear? Wave clear on the side lane.
I mean, they were unable to land arrows.
That too.
That was the core component.
That too. This time around, Wild Turtle's got the arrow.
And they were unable to kill Faker despite him being leveled down.
Let's see how Team WE handle this Galio pick. Remember, LPL, one of the only leagues that was able to play with Galio throughout playoffs and in their regional final.
And Galio is actually one of the best leashes from top lane. With Kha'Zix starting W plus the Q, you essentially instant clear those little wraiths, so you're able to get a very fast start.
It's actually to the point where I play with some Galios, and the mid laner's like, Shallow leash. He's like, no. His jungler instantly panics. You're not stealing my Raptors. Galio puts them on 20%. I do not need any additional help. I like my experience. So yeah, this should be a power clear for Svenskeren.
All right, what can he do with the clear? In the previous game, we've seen the impact. Condi's going to potentially set up for an invade here.
So that speed's really important because Svenskeren is doing his standard 2 camps one side and then crossover. Condi's going in. He is, however, spotted.
He is spotted, but the TSM bot lane is shoved in, mid lane is shoved in, so they can't really respond, and Svenskeren has to go for a trade.
Yeah, this is something where starting locations are really important to place between pushing lanes. So WE is doing the right thing. They're abusing their pushing bot lane matchup. However, because of the preemptive ward from TSM, they're completely fine reacting to this. Also, Svenskeren is now covered by a pushing top lane. So often he goes in for an invade and dies. That is if his top lane is not pushing. He has, however, in the past lingered too long here, went for Wolves, and ended up paying the price.
It's also pretty smart to actually pull this all the way back, because you can see that that ward being dropped does not give Shia any information other than the blue is already gone. He doesn't really know the timing on when it was taken exactly.
Now look at the pausing from Sven. He actually managed to avoid that ward entirely by hugging the wall. Condi's going to decide to back away, most likely for the Scuttle Crab. I'm looking at the lanes. Horns are pushing very heavily, knowing how close Svenskeren is to this top quadrant.
And Condi, now knowing that Svenskeren is over there, is trying to take away more of his enemy's jungle so that they can come out even or ahead. Because if Kha'Zix takes away all your camps and you only take the blue, then retreat, you end up behind an experience behind on gold.
And if you ever miss sight of the jungle, just look at which lane the mid laner is leaning towards. Talia has been leaning right in the lane this phase the entire time. Bjergsen slightly to the left. They obviously respect that the enemy jungler is going to be on the other side most likely, so if they ever get ganked, they're on the other side of the lane.
Yeah, perceiving information from what you can see from your enemies. Taking a look down as Svenskeren is going to move into his quadrant of the jungle and find it all cleared out. Biofrost burning through some of those shields and mana. Been shoved under the tower by Caitlyn and Karma. Somewhat expected in the opening levels, I feel.
But they're playing their role right now.
Yeah, and I think that they just have to kind of absorb the pressure. They are more of that lane that is going to play the utility focus. They have utility-focused AD carry as well as support. And I think that as long as they're playing safe and going even, that is pretty much according to plan for TSM.
Yeah, and it's also Mystic. Despite being like a super strong AD carry, he's running Warlords, not Fervor here on his Caitlyn, so he's not looking to scale. Liu looking for that lane dominance with the Warlords well.
Well, we've talked a lot about the bottom 4 members of the map. We've not really touched on 957 or Hornser. Hornser just keeps shoving 957 in. He's farming up relatively well with that corrupting potion. This is why we haven't spoken about the top laners. Wild Turtle again takes a mantra Q from Ben and is just shoved under tower.
So one thing I'm looking for here is the triple Dorans, and that is the buy that Haunter's going to go for. With this triple Dorans, 1 Q can actually kill the backline, and you can really start to accelerate your pushing power. You also can harass the Fizz pretty well under that turret, and Galio plus Kha'Zix is a pretty powerful diving combo, so they are going to have to be wary of that.
Yeah, that's why 957 is looking for sustenance here. Going for an ultra defensive build, no rush here. Only any offensive items, no magic plus Dark Seal, Corrupting Potion. It's about as sustained as you can be on the early gold rather.
Well, looking at this top lane, 957's already teleported back to lane. Hornser with the pushing lane has actually used that to his advantage and saved the TP. Also getting closer to level 6 in that heroic entrance.
And both junglers in kind of counter gang position here. GA trying to lure in Bjergsen, respecting the midway point. Pretty clean play from both sides. Honestly, standard as well. We're looking for something to break the mold here.
Sven sees Condi here.
All right, a lot of damage down. Tastes Condi's fear. No ultimates yet. Condi's also got a level advantage. Leap forward. Flash out from Bjergsen. Gets the Rune Prison. And the first
coming over too.
Look at the seismic shove and the unraveled earth. Shia gets a reply back for Team WE. This is getting messy. So far, it's a 2-for-1. Hornser with a TP advantage. He gets a Justice Punch to Mystic's face in the back end. Ben is running low on mana. He's already flashed in. So is Bjergsen. There's no more mana for an overload. Looking for those autos. A big shield from Ben. Just enough to escape under the tower. And TSM get a 3-for-1.
Yeah, hubris and an error in communication from Team WE. You pointed out earlier, Hanzer at teleports still available, yet their aggressive movement of the jungle on the other side is unwarranted. Condi cannot afford to make this move, while TSM can collapse with multiple members and teleport down.
You face check the Kha'Zix, you're going to pay the price, and Bjergsen and the rest of TSM so fast on this move, and the pushing advantage that netted Haunter, that summoner spell, is able to come up so big for TSM, especially getting the kills onto both Turtle and Bjergsen, 2 of the big damage dealers for TSM.
Yeah, and also really good CC layering right now. Haunter under pressure. Damage
Let's see, Idol of Duran buys some time, but the Troll Pole gets 957 out safety.
Yeah, it was really well timed. Exhaust earlier in that skirmish from Bifrost as well. Chained into the taunt, really Mystic without any answer. 957 looking to capitalize, but remember he built defensively earlier on. He didn't rush any Sheen or any burst items.
Now, one thing I would like to see here now is Svenskeren moving topside, trying to cover that wave because he has the support from Galio with that hero's entrance. So he can play a little bit more confident than you otherwise would normally be able to do. So TSM should be looking to move around here, but with Rise and Base, it is a bit risky. All
right, Svenskeren was stood right on top of a ward. There's no Chum Waters available to 957. Red buff secured out by Condi. So they'll be able to walk out to safety. So they get the buff steal at the very least. The wave denied up in the top lane, and Hornser loses a little bit of CS, but he gets an assist to his name.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good move from WE to make them best of a bad situation, right? Yes, they lost the fight, and that is pretty bad for the bottom side, but you can at least get some CS and experience over onto 957, who is supposed to be a split push threat and needs to get an edge in that matchup.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to bounce back from that ridiculous amount of activity in the previous game. This time around, TSM and WE on a slower pace, respecting the ability to level up, and Condi, with the support of Shia, steals another buff.
They steal the buff, and they wanted to get back to their side of the map really quick, because Hanser is looking for the reactionary play. If Shia can get the blue buff and push in Bjergsen, who will not have one of his own, that can lead to the 4-man dive party, because bot lane is still consistently pushing in.
They are, and they are up, a little bit in farm, but so far so good. You also do have to worry a little bit about this Ashe initiation because the rotations can come down with the Rise ultimate, and you can set that up pretty well with the Ashe.
You can actually mess with the Talia. If the wall comes out, you can walk towards it as Wall Turtle, and then
here they go.
Keep going early.
All right, where is Bjergsen? He's trying to come into the Realm Warp. Ben may be dead already. Realm Warp's going to deliver Bjergsen into the bottom lane, and he gets the kill secured. Mystic Rune prisoned up, but there's not enough damage. Team WE want to reply. They close the door on Wild Turtle, Bjergsen, and Biofrost. There's a little bit of support coming in from Svenskeren behind the wall, but Team WE, they can't find the CC or the damage.
Yeah, and they have the safety with Kha'Zix there who can jump in on anyone who moves forward, So TSM covered that play very well. As I said, you have the Realm Warp to come in, so when you're pushing, you expose yourself to that attack, and they were not covered for that play.
And this was also a reaction on the blue steal. Because Xie left the lane to steal the blue buff, Bjergsen got the push, and if you get the push, you can leave. So they're actually first to roam bottom, despite losing their blue buff.
All right, 957 going very forward onto Hornsa. Chum the Water's still available. Urchin Strike comes out.
That's a W2 for a massive damage.
Shark, and 957 with a great solo kill.
Yeah, once that mark is hovering over a target and you reapply W and it's fully stacked, you need to press the W one more time for like a 20%, 25% chunk. If you pair that with ulti, you can really surprise people with the damage output.
And that honestly is pretty scary for TSM when you take in consideration Ignite was not even used. No damage had really been purchased yet for 957. So, I mean, that's pretty scary for Hanser. If you're pushing in and that's your advantage, but you can get all in, you're setting yourself up for failure.
TSM is playing around the bot side, but in champs, like we were vehemently talking about how the strength of TSM has been a winning top lane matchup. They get a pushing matchup early on with the Galio, but now with that kill, 957 is back in the game. He has unlocked himself being a split pusher as a win condition for Team WE.
And another critical thing in this matchup is you essentially have two forms of CC. You have your punch and you have your taunt. Fizz can avoid one with that troll pole, but you have to hit one or the other. He missed the E, which allows you to playful Trickster on the taunt, and you can get out scot-free.
That means that 957 is the advantage. Got the Sheen picked up, got himself that Spectre's Cowl. A little bit of MR to deal with both Hornsa and Bjergsen. And we're at an even game, 600-700 gold at 10 minutes. It's not a lot to speak of because you can see 957's got the advantage top, Bjergsen's got the advantage mid, but then all of a sudden, Mystic is also marginally ahead of Wild Turtle down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, but Turtle picked up lifesteal as well, so he can just stay sustained in this lane. Also, level 6 Karma doesn't even get too much, right?
Yeah.
There's a Lulu that always have the wild go, so this matchup is just going to even out CS for CS. It's more about the timings and the cadence of the pushes. If they can move somebody away from that lane, add him somewhere else and create an advantage.
I mean, WE is definitely looking to cash in on the pressure they've had. If you have lane pressure all this time in the bot lane and you don't kill the turret, you don't really get rewarded for that. So they're trying to push it in and finish that off.
That's great to see. More respect being given here by the two respective teams. WE yet another invade, but this time Svenskeren jumps onto Ben. Sven's immediately exhausted, and Condi follows through the resonating strike, gets the first kill. A heroic entrance. Hornsa lands on Bjergsen, gives him the damage reduction, but Biofrost is being chunked down by 957. Chum the Water's going to be negated by the wild growth. It doesn't matter. 957 gets another kill. Team WE even it up and escape with the ultimate for Bjergsen. Ace in the hole, not going to kill Hornsa yet. Condi's looking for the Sonic Wave, misses the shot.
And Wild Turtle is nowhere to be found. He only just entered this fight. This was a complete collapse on the bottom side. As Zale pointed out, the turret was low. WE was 3-man rotating to make a pressure play on the turret. TSM sees this, knows this, willingly commit to the fight, and end up losing.
I mean, that's the biggest point. They chose that fight. Svenskeren jumps in with his 80 carry in base without his teammates in position, and now you're in a world where 957 picks up 2 more kills, is up 2 levels on Hanser, and TSM is in so much trouble.
Yeah, because if you look at the cooldowns, Bifrost has really short cooldowns on Exhausted Flash, meaning he's the one most prone to getting caught here, yet Sven jumps in. I love the instantaneous reaction from WE though. Condi, really the spearhead of this play.
And where's the damage for TSM in this fight, right? You need your AD carry around because no one is going to be able to finish these players off. They're building MR, Ryze can't do it, Galio can't do it, you need the Ashe in position, and TSM's comp falls apart in a situation like this.
Yeah, when everybody's choosing these individual partners, you know, mano a mano, 1v1, then Mystic is just completely untouched and he doesn't drop. He continues to put damage out there too. CA forces another flash. It's almost too easy for WE here.
They just make it look so good. Team WE take the lead at 13 minutes, 1,500 gold, 3 kills now for 957. That is not a champion you want to get fed.
No, and the problem with it as well is if you don't have mixed damage solo laners, you can't challenge the Fizz. Because he can just itemize just magic resistance. He's going in again.
All right, Bjergsen's going to get caught out. Chum the... Whoa! He just got eaten alive, sent back to the void.
Yeah, I mean, you get the knock up from the fish, sets up for the seismic shove from Talia. Easy combo for them to pull off, and they're pushing turrets on top side. They're getting so much. They're going to be able to continue that push.
Yeah, they're getting a kill in the mid lane, additional mid lane turret here. They're splitting the map evenly, but even tier 2 will get sieged upon. Xie could even rotate to get the zoning weaver as well. That flash that Bjergsen lost in the earlier skirmish got punished ultra hard here.
Now remember, earlier today, Team Solo Mid took down G2 in a very dramatic game. They went 50+ minutes. Team WE, however, they lost to the Marines.
There's nothing wrong with losing against the
a fairly one-sided game. But the mentality shift to come back into it, Team WE, they've just completely shored up their early game, and they've read TSM like a book in the last 5 minutes.
Well, when you look at the success from TSM, both games they won were Haunter dominating the top lane. It was Kennen against WE. It was the really fed Rumble against G2. And without that side lane pressure, so much pressure comes down to, I think, a more kind of complicated game plan for TSM. They seem to fall short when there's so much going on.
I mean, let's take a look at 957. 2 magic resistance items finished. He's sitting on the Spirit Visage, he has his Sheen ready, and now he can start itemizing more efficiently, but he's so relevant in the game still that his base damages are enough combined with the Ignite to take anybody down, really.
Well, Dragon was secured, but that's a small solace for TSM. 1 tower to 3, 4,000 gold, roughly, call it 3.5 at this stage.
Yeah.
And Team W are completely online. Of course, they can start to play this 1-3-1 if they want to. In the not too distant future.
They're actually going for a 1-1-3 here, it seems. Mostly because Xia wants a blue buff before he moves to a side lane. Also, you can play when you're this far ahead. Generally, you don't play 1-1-3 because you will get punished somewhere else, but Xia can always join any other side. You know, he can go really fast from mid to top or from mid to bot. And this way, TSM will need to defend the bot lane tier 2 turret pretty soon, because that seems to be the target for WE.
I'm looking at the minimap and I see Team WE still quite split up, trying to redefine their lane assignments, but look at the amount of warding. Team W had about 4 wards in that top quadrant of TSM's jungle, and pushing fairly safely here. No reply from TSM.
Yeah, and moving the vision down to TSM's blue side, like Mitch said, is saying they want to go for this turret. One thing Galio does have, though, from behind as a tank is pretty good wave clear, and pretty safe wave clear, because he does have that range Q to toss out. That said, you know, this is a kind of a team fight composition for TSM, so you have to feel like to get back to this game, they need to get some sort of a fight.
They need to get him on the run, and maybe they can use that teleport ward in the bottom lane that's being placed, right? That control ward. I see Trevor, like, waving his fist in the air. You too saw that ward, right, Trev?
I did indeed. Condi's been caught up by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and Biofrost Wild Growth will not find a target to knock up. TSM.
Beautiful.
Now they're going to get closed off from the mid inner.
Yeah, you lure him to the bot lane, but it's a trap because 957 is setting up the secondary wave. WE is constantly playing on at least 2 lanes. That is the main mistake teams have made at this tournament when they play 1-3-1, is that they make the map too tiny.
They have it. Heroic entrance comes down, buys some time for Sven to escape. Not before he's burned alive. Wild Turtle's forced to flash and heal his way to safety. WE get the tower and a kill.
Shige played that fight so well, forcing Turtle out from the side. He finds the angle, hits all of his shards onto Turtle, and Turtle just has to blow both summoners and get out.
This pressure here, WE, I love the way they found a way to get 957 back into the game. You know, Hanser got the teleport advantage, got the TP back down. He got a few kills and assists, and it all looked really good for TSM snowballing, but they couldn't capitalize off this bot lane pressure.
And this was the Team WE that we come to expect from the LPL. When they get a lead, they know how to snowball it ahead and accelerate it very, very quickly.
You kind of have to wonder, though, what is Svenskeren thinking? Walking up to that turret that has less than 10% HP into melee range, gets fished. I mean, this is not something you can defend, and we see these players making these kind of mistakes throughout the whole tournament.
Yeah, these players, and Svenskeren in particular, making it 5 out of his 6 games, maybe you could, you know, even question it. What was he thinking? 0-3-1 on this Kha'Zix. Decent start.
Probably was thinking he could defend the turret. Yeah. Was wrong, though.
Well, you know what Thought did.
Yeah.
Got you killed by Team WE.
So you never think, you just do.
React.
Do it or not, there is no think, right?
Yeah, that's right, Yoda. 957 doesn't find a target with Chum the Waters. Another buff stolen away. Team WE have had control of TSM's jungle for the majority of this game.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're going to go for the same pattern here. Put the Kaelin top with the support of the team, force TSM to walk top lane, and then pivot back to mid lane, zoning with the Weaver's Wall, and get the second mid lane turret right there.
And I certainly think they can. I mean, they have so much more pressure than TSM right now, and Turtle a little bit wide on that arrow. Just look at the experience advantage. Like, that is somewhat problematic. When you look at AD carries, when you look at top laners, experience means so much in League of Legends, and WE is controlling the map. They're farming the jungle camps. They're having better wave control, and they're getting edges everywhere.
Can we talk about the arrow, though?
What would you like to talk about?
I don't know. What was that? I have another color here. I don't know what.
It was wishful thinking.
Yeah.
I looked at the minimap. I thought maybe Realm War.
Yeah. Okay. No. But I accept that actually.
But it was optimistic, I think, which is ironic because it was onto Mystic. But
not onto Mystic.
Did not hit Mystic, and that means he survives. I'm looking at the items really quickly, as is my prerogative. Infinity Edge almost completed for Mystic. Abyssal Scepter haunting. Guys for Shia, getting closer to Trinity Force for 957. He's already terrifying, and that's just going to be another switch.
And I think the item completions for Caitlyn is such an important thing to point out, because Caitlyn is supposed to be this weak champion in the mid game before you get your 2-3 items, and Ashe is supposed to be the kind of time that you're dominating now. With the Blade of the Rune King completed, you're very strong, and they haven't been able to really get anything done.
Well, they haven't. 957, however, has 3-0 and 2 of his team's kills. The inner turret in the bottom lane is the focus here for WE.
You have to always, if you're TSM fan, this is what you want to see. You want to see them grouping. Even though they have a lot of poke, this is where WE is the weakest, when they're all on the same lane and nobody is prepping the secondary lane to rotate to.
Well, Team WE was so good earlier. They simply have very few objectives left to steal here from Team WE.
That was really nice from Bjergsen. As soon as he hears the Weaver's Wall being cast with that global sound, he gets out of there immediately. You can't wait till you already see him or you'll be stopped.
Yeah, there was a few nice map moves by TSM. Mystic has to flash right now. That was not an optimistic arrow. That was actually a great one. We saw also earlier Svenskeren hiding in the bush, trying to attack 957, ganging up with Hanser on him to attack the side lane. So TSM attacked the side lane, forced W to group, then dragged them back to the other lane, forced some ultis and used Realmore to disengage, and now got a major flash. So the last 2 or 3 minutes have played very well by TSM.
And with flash down on that AD carry, TSM can look to posture around the Dragon, because that does make the Caitlyn much more vulnerable to something like that Realm Warp setup or the Kha'Zix plus Galio combo.
Kha'Zix plus Galio is the winner.
All right, Condi and Mystic, they get knocked up by the Wild Growth. Svenskeren is exhausted once again. Mystic survives. Still hasn't finished that Infinity Edge, but is putting down a lot of hurt onto TSM. Bjergsen gets one with the Rune Prison and the Overload. Finds a double kill. Turns back towards Shia. Hanser, unfortunately, doesn't connect to the Justice Punch, and 957's running for his life. The Dragon is the focus for TSM.
And that was exactly what they were looking for. They don't get the kill on Mystic, but he's pushed out immediately because he has no summoners. So great job by TSM, capitalizing on that back, getting a 1 fight, and the Dragon buys them another lease on life.
Yeah, what a great sequence of events. It honestly all started in the bottom lane, then that arrow from Turtle forcing the flash here, and here Mystic, this is just not smart at all. Really nice combination with the Wild Growth. Galio isn't even here, but if you can force team fights and you're the one initiating against a 1v1 composition, you generally should be strong. Look at the havoc Bjergsen causes in the left side of that fight.
As that Rise starts to get stronger and stronger, hitting these item completions, I mean, we've seen a lot of Rise games carried by Bjergsen. If you think back to even Worlds against RNG, it was like Bjergsen versus the world in some of those games, and nearly managed to carry it.
Well, TSM are going to need another performance like that, because they're still in a very big hole. It's 4,000 gold down, but as we've mentioned a few times already, they played defensively well, they wave cleared well, they've lost that 1 tower and that 1 kill in the last few minutes.
Yeah, gold distribution is very important though, and also what it can buy you, gold efficiency. You don't need to be gold for gold if you're playing tank versus carry, as long as you can hold and you don't get to the breaking point of the matchup, right? If somehow this stalling has put Hanser in a position where he can comfortably soak 957's pressure and then use TP or ulti to get to the fight, then suddenly WE has to play 4v4 on the rest of the map, and maybe they can't utilize as much of that gold advantage.
And I think he is comfortable to clear at his own turret, right? But that is why it's so important for WE to knock down these turrets, to create long lanes that Hanser has to walk out into and expose himself in.
See what Hanser can do with him. 0-2-1 at the moment. He used that teleport, so advantage to Team WE. And he's going to be trying to match.
Yeah. And every time they split, WE to set up their side lanes, TSM just power through as a fist in the mid lane. They're like, you know what? We're not going to let you set up your side lane. We're just going to join clear 4-man top, 4-man mid, look for group. This is going to make Wild Turtle suffer in CS, but it gives them pick opportunities.
All right, looking at the minimap, 957 recalled. He was sitting in his base with that TP advantage. We mentioned already, I can also see Wild Turtle picks up his red buff. Just to give you a quick update, of the 10 buffs that TSM have got their hands onto thus far, 6 of them were actually secured by Team WE. 10 spawned, 6 stolen away.
And as was just pointed out by Grumpo, look at all the pink wards that are being picked up by TSM. This is something they do well in the mid game, fighting for vision control, everyone carrying pinks, and Hanser has to cheat up more towards the mid lane to be in range of a Galio ult.
Oh, Ashe Arrow.
They may go in.
Nick is able to escape though. Still has the cleanse and the flash available. 957's teleport has been used, and a big threaded volley chunks down Svenskeren. Seismic shove holds Hanser in place as Bjergsen playing a threat in the side lane. Chum the Waters still hasn't been fired by 957. Very good round war by Bjergsen.
Yeah, I'm loving the fluidity of how Bjergsen moves in and out of these fights here, the right timing. He moves in to relieve pressure off his team and then trades that with a Realm Warp for an escape here. TP advantage will go towards TSM, and honestly, they've done a fantastic job stopping the bleeding.
There's no room for error, though, with this deficit and the vision that Team WE are trying to set up around a Baron buff. But look at the ultimates. Team WE have them all available. Unfortunately for them, they don't have the teleport, which Haunter will get shortly.
Yeah, and the big thing here is TSM want to try to play this slowly because they have global advantage. So WE is just starting up the Baron. This could be risky, though. They have the Kha'Zix Galio combo.
Let's see, where is the engagement?
Turtle! Why is Turtle in front of the rest of the team there?
That is a question we've asked TSM many, many times. Svenskeren gets called by 957's ulti. Heroic entrance, and now Condi's in trouble. Both going low. The junglers are going to kill Svenskeren first. Off to the right of your edge. 957 and Bjergsen are trading back and forth. Haunter flashes for a few seconds longer. Gets shut down by Condi, and WE find 3 kills.
TSM as a team fail at basic mathematics. They see 3 guys in the pit, meaning there's 2 of those missing. They were in the brush that Turtle approached. Guess what? It was the Karma and the Talia. He walks on a knockback, not using flash, not using heal to get out. He drops, and so in that moment, TSM's hopes vanish completely.
I mean, TSM had WE in a good position where they forced down the globals. They can wait it out, slow play it, get Miz in a bot lane, then look for the engage. And you have a Galio to face check this. Why is Turtle just wandering in, walks back into the seismic shove? Down goes Turtle, and probably down goes TSM's hope in this game.
And this is also, it's a lack of being on the same page. Your communication has to be, what do we do? Slow contest, fast contest? Because when you say fast contest, that means somebody else has to be in. So this is probably TSM in the mindset of we have time. But Turtle is not on the same page with his team, so either there's a communication error or an individual misread from Turtle himself. Regardless, TSM is no longer playing as a unit, and it costs them so much.
Yeah, it really does. It's a 7,000 gold lead for Team WE. They've got Baron buff in a 1-3-1 comp. And 957's teleport will become available in the not too distant future. 2/3 of the cooldown already burned away.
Now let's judge this push and pull here from WE. Are they going to commit for the fight and a dive? So many teams do are going to play it slow, methodical.
I think we're just going to look to see them play a 1-4 right now. They have 4 members in bot, shove it up, pick up the free gold on the map, and I think this is the smart and safe way to play the game. Have 957 by himself. No one can contest this guy solo. If you send 2 to match him, dive with the rest of the 4, force on the turret.
Or just keep bouncing between mid and top and eventually use Reaper's Wall, get a 3v0 on a turret somewhere. Definitely use that pressure. It's not the highest yielding play, but here we go. First turret under siege.
That's exactly what Bjergsen did earlier in the tournament. Team WE, uncontested, break open the base. Looking at the mini-map, the minion wave is slowly making its way to the bottom turret. Team WE, however, they're looking for the inhib. Chum the Waters is used.
Yeah, major cooldowns have been used. Remember, this is not a team fight composition. A team fight's okay for WE. The true strength still lies in the split matchups.
Well, seismic shove onto Haunter. Bjergsen looking for an opportunity, waiting in the flanks. Keep your eyes on that man. Team solo mid, they're sticking together. They haven't been able to split WE. And the wave is pushing away from WE in the bottom lane. It doesn't matter. They've got the objective that matters. Let's see him.
Yeah, you saw the strength of the composition there, but the lead is just simply too big.
And I think WE have played this out so well for the position that they've been put in. That's an extremely safe, high percentage play with the Baron. They quickly knock down that inhibitor, and they can take the Dragon, reset, spend their gold, and really are at a monumental lead.
And it's something that WE have done really all game long. You know, every time they push into TSM territory, they're either setting up the vision, stealing the buffs, or in this case, knocking over the objectives. Just great play from the LPL representative.
Yeah, they got caught out by an arrow once. Guess what? They pick up both Mikhail's Crucible and the Quicksilver Sash here. So 2 tools to avoid that. And that definitely makes it a lot harder for TSM to find that crucial pick.
And I think that defensive itemization like this is so smart when you consider the state of the game, the ways that TSM can win.
Yes.
How does TSM win? Well, Haunter gets backline, lands a big taunt, they kill off Mystic. Well, QSS kind of denies that. Oh, how else do you get, well, Ash Arrow, right? Mikhail denies that.
Or you dive and Bjergsen's not here. That's also a way to win.
All right, the Idol of Drone, that's a good block from 957. Takes the Justice Punch to the face, but there's just not enough damage to burn through that tank on Haunter.
I love teams getting used to the new Galio. It's so intuitive to step away when he charges backwards. To start body blocking that dash forward, it's always very satisfying to see.
Yeah, very useful. It allows Team WE to take inner turret top, almost take down this top lane tower as well. Team Solo mid are holding for a few seconds longer.
Got the cannon though.
Yep.
Real ball here.
Yeah, it will eventually. Condi's looking for a target. Tower goes down the back end. Condi gets cut off by his own teammate's Weaver Wall. A little overeager here from Team WE. They're in a 5-on-4 situation, and Ben is a sacrificial lamb. Team Solomid get 2 kills, but they lose another turret.
Yeah, Condi overreaching there, and then Bjergsen with the Realm Morph Galio combo into the back line. They find a couple kills there, and they buy themselves at least a little bit of time.
And that was the combo we were talking about in Picks and Bans, how TSM could get to the back line, but they're in such a deficit. It may not matter, it may be too late.
Condi, oh, he kicks flash instead of kick flashes. So he basically flashed too late. He was looking to kick somebody into the fight, but he messed up the inputs. Obviously, the reaction play from TSM was really satisfying to watch.
Yeah, really satisfying for Team WE to at least break open the base, right? It's still like a 10,000 gold lead at 30 minutes.
And I mean, 8 turrets to 1. That's really the big story. Is WE has been moving around the map better. They've been playing exceptionally well in this macro game, and they still have the side lane advantage of 957. 2 inhibitor turrets down and 1 inhibitor dead.
Yeah, 8 turrets at 2 now. The inverse G2 turret situation at MSI.
Looking at the mini-map, Team WE got a lot of support coming in. Biofrost is forced to flash. Idol of Durand will buy a few seconds with a Sonic Wave into Biofrost. Condi doesn't pull the trigger yet, has timed out, and Justice Punch once again knocks 957 away. Winds of War slows everybody down. Realm Warp takes most of TSM to safety. Wild Turtle's Enchanted Crystal Arrow is available, and Team WE, they push off TSM.
It was actually quite dangerous there. You can flash the damage for Fist Q if you do it in time. So Bifrost almost got re-engaged on by Condi, so that could have been a crucial error. Lucky for him, there was not a follow-up from TWE.
Not a follow-up yet. It does feel like a matter of time. You know, one of the big narratives that we had for Team WE coming in is that they were the Elder Dragon team from
yes,
LPL.
but we have to clarify.
About a lot.
We have to clarify. They're an Elder Dragon team not because they win by fighting around Elder Dragon. It just happens to be that, according to the LPL casters, that they fight their way back into the game around 35 minutes, which is obviously the Elder Dragon mark. But it is not as relevant to Elder Dragon fights itself.
No, but of course, that's terrifying for TSM to just know that WE get better in the next 4 minutes.
Hey, 4 more minutes.
And they're already in such a great position. WE very comfortable in closing out at these stages of the game.
They definitely are, but I think the game is likely going to come down to this next Baron spawn. I don't think WE will risk another dive into the base here. And the fact that TSM doesn't have a dead bottom inhibitor means that it's much easier to actually defend against these super minions. You can push out mid and respond to Baron. So we'll have to see WE play pretty well around this.
Yeah, they got to play the flying V here. Protect Svenskeren. Launch him into the Baron pit if they're doing it. However, there is top lane present currently by 957.
Teleport's available for 957 and Horns up, but they're on opposite ends of the map. Mystic is starting to back away from this mid lane. Of course, TSM doing a great job shoving the lane out before looking to contest the Baron pits.
And that's great, but I mean, Haunter can't stop 957 by himself in a long fight. So TSM have to move back up and threaten this, but that gives WE the chance to move right onto the Baron, and TSM have to react to this now.
Need to get in there. It's 7,000 gold, 6,000, 5,000, dropping fast.
Round Warp will deliver Bjergsen next to Wild Turtle. Ash Arrow catches onto Mystic. Insta QSS. He's managed to back away.
957 coming in the back.
957's got Chum the Waters. It's not going to find his mark. It catches Bjergsen. Bjergsen goes golden thanks to the Hourglass. Svenskeren, the target. Now 957. He's forced to go low. Guardian Angel is available to him if it goes down. Idol of Durand was used by Haunts and nobody has died yet. She is running away. Threaded Volley goes down. Somehow, Wild Turtle dies in the side. 957, it cost him his GA. The Troll pulled to safety. Svenskeren tastes his fear. 1 for 1. Top laner for ADC.
Very important counter kill there for TSM. Turtle stepping a little bit too forward and not using his heal again goes down for TSM, but a very close fight, and TSM does hang on.
Yeah, they make the right map moves, WE. They do not have any pressure in the bottom side of the map, allowing TSM to play in between the 2 crucial remaining lanes. And you don't want to burn that Asher down, so Svenskeren can always hop in, go for a Q smite. 50-50 is not what WE were looking for. So their error in their ways was in the setup. Watch this again, how easy it is for TSM to approach here. Keep your eyes on Bjergsen as well. So much pressure.
And it's also so key to actually get that QSS down on Mystic from the Ash Arrow, so it was a good job to hit that from Turtle. But when Galio comes in, he's able to get such a big taunt because that QSS isn't available, and Ben got caught, so he could not McHale's his teammates.
Definitely so. Then here, Turtle steps forward. This is the TSM Dasher started. Top lane has teleport. Mystic is quite far off. This may be a very tricky situation. Bjergsen also low on mana.
957 on the side.
Already peeled away. 957 teleported in the Weaver's wall, slowing down TSM's escape. And Bjergsen is down on mana. But it looks like TSM have been able to regroup towards the top. The problem is they're being surrounded.
Yeah, WE has corralled them. They're going to look for a game-winning fight here. TSM needs to try to hang on.
But TSM is strong in numbers. I think it's much more important that they need to get back to their base, because this now leaves the bottom or the mid lane inhib open. Somebody should cancel their backs though.
Two inhibitors exposed. Team WE decide not to interrupt TSM. They're playing a little bit nervous with this as well.
A lot of hesitation back and forth. WE does not stop the base. A 957 backs off the inhibitor, and both teams kind of flub on the play.
Oh, Svensson is pinged out. They know he's in this brush. 8 seconds to base here. Redemption to cancel. Fantastic.
Oh my word. Sven Skjeren is now going to be the target of Team WE. Sends out the Void Missiles and leaps away to safety. Flashes on cooldown so Sven can't use it.
She is rock surfing with the passive here. Very important to catch him. Sven Skjeren was looking for a cheeky play, but the redemption, hero play.
Heroic entrance is actually going to send Hornsa into the wrong side of the map. Now he's behind 5 members of Team WE. Gets a 4-man taunt. Bjergsen's on the flank, looking for Condi. Hornsa's running for his life. Biofrost is shut
can't enter the fight.
Team Solo Mid tried to engage, but they're losing their members' HP left and right. A killing spree for Shie as Hornsa goes down. Wild Turtle's a target for 957. He's going to hop forward, looking for this Urchin strike. Uses the minions to taxi, and Wild Turtle manages to escape.
Yeah, Shie with an MVP performance in that fight. The way he peeled for his backline as Galio hit that multi-man taunt. Svensson is still dead right now. I love the way Shie controlled that fight. Bjergsen could never get in, even on the flank, because Mystic was holding him there.
Such an incredible job by Ben, stopping that base. And this is likely going to be a WE Baron.
Can they get more? Bjergsen's actually on the sideline. He's got a flash available to 957 jumps in. Bjergsen uses his hourglass. Weaver's wall looking to cut off Wild Turtle, in fact. No, he's jumped off to catch Biofrost. I'm looking at the mini-map, and Biofrost survives a few seconds longer. Here comes Wild Turtle with the help of the Blast Cone.
Yeah, but this could very well be the game. Bjergsen died, 45 seconds remain in a 4v5 with Mystic spearheading the push.
Yeah, they had no jungler, no reason to contest that, and now without their mid laner, WE is looking to end and get their revenge on TSM.
It's a 35-second cooldown before Bjergsen is alive. Inhibitor number 1 in the middle lane is knocked over. Team WE playing this by the numbers. They're grouping up towards the top. 957 left to usher those minions towards the Nexus turrets.
20 seconds remain on Bjergsen. Keep your eyes on Hunter. He needs to land a big taunt.
Heroic entrance is still available, and Realm Warp is 2, so if Team WE do not get out clean, which they will, 2 inhibitors, and once again, regain absolute control.
Yeah, WE constantly looking for the high percentage plays here, not risking and not getting sucked into the drama. They now have Baron buff remaining for 2.5 minutes, and they only have 2 pushing lanes. I like the push and pull. So Svensson, the reason he stayed is that when these things happen, when people get pushed out of their base and then you have the enemy team running into your base, they generally turn around while they're in your jungle and then rush to Nashor. If you base and then have to run to Nashor yourself, you're going to be late. So you're operating under the assumption that there's no topside vision. That's why Svensson wasn't here. But obviously if he's caught out, this fight happened with such a stellar performance by Shie.
Yeah, so well positioned too. Over the blue wall there, sitting in that buff pit, zoning Turtle and Biofrost out the entire time. And you know if you keep Turtle out of the fight, TSM just doesn't have the damage to actually punch through the rest of the team.
That allows Team WE to push forward into the base, knock over those inhibitors as well. Team Solomon in what was a 3v5. Opted to not really challenge Baron, stick around too long, and now Team WE, they're barreling down this bottom lane. Weaver's wall to cut off any sort of defense, and the tower's knocked over.
And you have to feel like TSM needs to engage right now, and WE knows it. We'll see if they can actually absorb this and get out.
Realm Warp is going to deliver Hornsa into the back line. He gets an idol of Duran Taunt. Condi gets interrupted by the Wild Growth. That was a good job by Biofrost. A heroic exit from Hornsa. Bjergsen's still sitting on the side, but Hornsa's already down. Sven Skjeren forced to flash defensively. Wild Turtle, the damage is dead. So is Bjergsen. The captain goes down quickly after. Team Solo Mid are routed in their base, and the LPLs, Team WE, take down the Nexus turrets, turn their attention to the Nexus, and they gain revenge, defeating Team Solo Mid.
And what a game from WE. They look so strong here despite falling down in the early game, always playing to their win conditions. Shiye was so big on Talia, not only the team fight zoning, the use of the Weaver's Wall to secure turrets, and this was just a great, safe, and high percentage macro game from WE.
Yeah, they never went for the 0-5-0 plays. They were always either playing 4-1 or 1-3-1 until they had a massive advantage accrued or an objective to force with the Weaver's Wall here. Definitely a lesson in split push dynamics for Team WE.
And this was the Team WE performance that we were expecting to see. It's the second round robin that has just kicked off. Team Solo Mid now find themselves in a position where they have 2 wins and 4 losses with only 4 games remaining.
And you have to feel like that game hinged on the one club team fight by Baron. TSM had teleport advantage, the global ultimate from Galio. If they were able to slow play that Baron, reset the map, they can look for an engage in a 5v4 play. That could have given them the edge, but Turtle stepping too far forward, gets picks off and cost TSM big.
Or his team not being there with him. You know, obviously he's the one that gets caught, but the language, we never know. Did they call out a slow contest, fast contest? What was the call? Like, they're doing it. If that's your call, you're going to suffer, right? Because then everybody has to make up their mind individually. Fantastic job by WE as well, hiding 2 members in the brush instead of the usual one that was going to heal.
And Wild Turtle, of course, was working towards Bjergsen as well, who had a stellar performance playing those side lanes. So, Team WE, they go 50% win rate in the group stage.
Just like
1-1. 1-1 on the day. They lose to Marines, take down TSM. TSM, on the other hand, they take down G2. They lose to Team WE. This bottom 5 rather, is getting very, very exciting as we go into the last 2 days of group stage play, Azale.
It really is, and TSM really doesn't have any more games to give. You have to assume you're looking for 5 wins. You're now at 2-4. You're probably going to lose to SKT. That means you need to run the rest of the table, right? You need to beat Flash Wolves, Gigabyte, and G2 again, probably to be safe for top 4.
Thank you very much. Now, with the loss of Nexus in pieces, it's time for Dash's Desk to tell us more about the WE's win over TSM.
Thank you very much. Quick shot, 1-1 on the day. Also 1-1 in the head-to-head against TSM. WE crafting a nice little comeback victory after getting down in the early game. But before we get to the gameplay itself, I want to talk about Champion Select because we talk about 957 and this guy on Fighter Champions. Doesn't get the Kled this time, but he gets the Fizz.
I do want to quickly highlight what I think TSM could have banned instead of the Malzahar was the Fizz to continue to target out 957. I feel like his champion pool has been well scouted by this tournament, and this was kind of a massive oversight. I understand why they took the Malzahar away from the bin, or away from the, reverse that, why they took Malzahar away from Ben, but ultimately I think that they just gave away too many weapons to 957.
Yeah, I think TSM played poorly and W deserves credit for the victory, especially getting ahead on Fizz. But I also don't want to see TSM allowing Lulu and Karma into Champion Select for the rest of the tournament. Every time they trade Lulu and Karma, they're losing the bottom side, and having an Enchanter to enhance the AD who's always ahead in games continually cost them. They banned those 2 against G2. That's when they won. They did not do it here, and I think that was a big part of their loss.
And the argument there, of course, is that we don't feel like they can actually run both, which is what a team like SKT would love to do, just to empower Bang or to empower a hyper carry player. We haven't necessarily seen Wild Turtle really demand that level of supporting, so having both, trading doesn't seem to work for them either. And you come back to WE. I predicted WE because I thought, okay, they largely can play when they get ahead in the early game. They play an ordered game. A lot of this game made a lot of sense from WE, even though they did actually make that mistake, even though they did fall behind TSM very early.
Yeah, well, so let's get into that then. Our Acer replay. Here's the 3-for-0 that gets WE back into the game after handing over an early lead.
Yeah, these were happier times before this happened. Sven Skaren jumping over the wall when Ashe is in base was just completely disorganized, and WE do a good job to counter it because they have everybody there.
I like how they disengaged the Galio ult as well. No one was opting into the very obvious baiting in terms of giving him and positioning into fights in general. We weren't seeing multi-man Galio ults at all. And then from there, closest targets, very easy when you have consistent damage from Talia, good target selection across the rift because they had 957 to dive the turret. And again, a lot of ordered play from this moment forward for WE.
And also so many comfort champions for Team WE.
Yep.
You know, Condi going to his signature pick and Lee Sensei on his Talia was very well known in the LPL. He was one of the first mid laners to actually bring it to that region. And Mystic going back to the Caitlyn. You know, he was hovering between a couple of AD carry champions, so it just felt like Team WE backs against the wall. They're like, let's calm down, let's remember what we're good at, and let's just play a very fundamental standard game.
Yeah, and as the 6th game they've played here at MSI, this was one of the more calmer performances they've had. There wasn't the super hectic early game. They got a little bit ahead, but they did continually extend that lead, 5,000, 10,000. 8,000, then 12,000, but it was much cleaner than the other ones they've played.
I mean, when we've seen up and down performances, it's very easy to forget that these are, of course, the champions of their regions, SKT accepted, of course. Everyone else has kind of gone one-on-one more than they'd want to. There hasn't been a lot of streaks. And what you really feel and what you learn as an analyst is that the recency bias of, well, how they played earlier today, you know, can they get back from that? All these teams are smart, have settled rosters, have had their backs against the wall in the past, and have veteran status in many ways. And that's why it feels like, judging from their most recent performance, it's feeling more like a trap for us rather than necessarily a trend.
I love that point because you talk about resilience, Jad, and you talk about how G2 showed a lot of resilience as compared to past iterations of this roster at international tournaments. I mean, that's a trait shared by all the teams at this tournament. They've all been knocked down a peg at some point and then found a way to craft victories after that. Of course, we'll have the same questions with TSM. How will they react to this loss going into tomorrow? But I, at least, am excited by the fact that, yes, I feel like every one of your predictions are basically 50-50, at least from where I'm standing.
I mean, it's just, we don't expect collapses. None of these teams are expected to collapse because they've been so regionally dominant that, sure, there will be the sidesteps, but they'll come firing back at some point.
Yeah, and it's interesting because all of these teams have pretty much had an opportunity to collapse, right? Both WE and TSM in the same day lost to Gigabyte Marines and then beat either WE or TSM. You look at Flash Wolves, they went 0-2, they bounced back 2-0. Now they're down again, right? G2 lost to Heartbreaker TSM, a nearly perfect game. Flash Wolves, literally every team, aside from SKT because they never lose, has had to bounce back from adversity.
But I think if we want to pinpoint like where they're bouncing back, it's not just like a mentality thing, because that's obviously subjective from us, but it's like draft in particular. Like teams will have a terrible draft, you know, they throw away all of their strong points, they're shortchanging where they actually have their win conditions in terms of their positions, where they're giving responsibility, and then it feels like the game that they come back and like, okay, let's remember, right, we play through our solo laners, we play through roaming mid laners, we play through roaming supports, and they get everyone back in order.
All right, well, we moved away from the game a little bit. I'm going to steer us right back for our final replay. As Zale mentioned, that was probably the game-breaking fight here. The face check from Wild Turtle, punished.
There are so many different ways that you could face check safely into this. You have Hawkshot, you probably had your blue trinket, you have Haunter on Galio, and they just picked the one way that would just cause utter disaster.
Yeah, and this was a trend in this game where it didn't feel like TSM was actually communicating that well. As Turtle was checking that brush, they were placing a control ward in the top of the pit. Not to mention, Haunter's a real tank on Galio who does have a Lulu backing him up. So there's, as you mentioned, so many ways they could defend. Yes, TSM kind of bounces back in between games, but I really don't feel like they're bouncing back very well in-game. Once something goes wrong, it does seem like the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah, of course, Wild Turtle shouldn't have gotten caught there, but even when he got caught, you have the Galio ultimate. It didn't come in, right? We saw Exhaust not being used in fights, and I feel like if there's an item here at this tournament that's being underutilized, it's got to be Knight's Vow, especially when you're looking at things like Fizz diving in on an Ashe, and you've got a Galio who should be happy to build that item.
I mean, after the first couple of items, a triple Doran, Sunfire situationally, a Spirit Visage situationally, Knight's Vow is, you know, fits right in. You can go very utility as a true tank when you've already got 40% damage reduction, and adding a little bit extra would have gone certainly not a miss.
Right, in that case, I think I'm not sure about the Iceborne. Would have liked to see the Knight's Vow, but that's neither here nor there. WE pick up a very nice victory. Now to put a button on this one, we're going to send it down to Shox for the inside word from WE's mid laner.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm joined here by the mid laner for Team WE, Xie, after that victory over TSM. And as this was a rematch from Monday, I'd love to know what the focus was of the team going in.
那么这次是第2次遇到 TSM， 那么这场比赛你的重点是什么？
我的重点就是因为上一次跟 TSM 交手的时候失误很多，然后这次尽量减少自己的失误，然后希望能开一下比赛。
So the last match, he made too many mistakes. So this game around, he just tried to minimize his mistake and carry the game.
Well, you had a fantastic game on Talia, that has to be said, and I'd love to know what your experience was in the 2 games overall of playing versus Bjergsen.
那么你和比尔森已经交手2盘了，那想问一下你跟他交手有什么样的感想吧？
比尔森的话，因为我们这2盘都是用了比较偏发育的英雄，所以对线的话比较平稳。但比尔森这个人就给我的感觉，他一直以来都很强，然后状态一直很稳定，不管是对线还是打团都很稳定。
So they both pick a farming champion like towards the late game. So in the laning phase, it's all right. But he felt like Bjergsen is a really strong laner, and he's also really good in team fights. So he's a really strong opponent.
Okay, well, now you guys end the day on 3-3. That means you still have a good chance to get into the next round, and all the opponents are very, very close together. So what are your expectations for the continuation and for making it to the next round? Sorry.
那么现在呢，你们是3-3了。那么很多队伍现在其实都差不多。那么接下来的比赛，你有什么样的期待？然后你觉得你们怎么样？
因为现在很多队伍都3-3了，然后我们这2天发挥其实算一般般，希望我们后面的发挥能更好，然后争取把所有比赛都赢下来。
So yeah, they're currently not performing so well. There are a lot of up and downs. He wishes in the future games he can play more consistently and perhaps to win all the rest of the games.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Xie. And 3-3 in the group stage so far. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Shox. I'm pretty sure consistency is something that all of the teams not SKT are hoping for, or at least that they'll find soon enough in the tournament. But with the back half of the MSI group stage underway, we have a team locked in for the next week's bracket stage, and that would be SK Telecom T1. They can secure the first seed with 2 wins tomorrow, so we'll see if they do it. G2 Esports and Team WE are sitting at 3-3. Flash Wolves, Gigabyte Marines, and TSM behind them with 2 wins each. We'll see if anyone can bring themselves closer to joining SKT in the bracket stage tomorrow. First up, we have Team WE versus G2 Esports, followed by another rematch between TSM and the Gigabyte Marines. That'll make it 7 games between the 2 squads. But it's time for us to turn the lights out. Before we do, actually, I'm going to turn to you guys because we've got that narrowing race towards that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th slots, assuming that SKT continues to dominate. How do you guys feel about how the standings are shaping up now that we've got a couple teams at 3-3 and a few right behind them?
Yeah, the lame answer is I feel like the 2 teams at 3-3 are actually most likely to be 2nd and 3rd, not because of their record, but because it seems like those teams are the closest to figuring out a play style. G2 has been fairly singular in their style the whole time, and just today we got to see them add that aggression in the early game, and we just talked a whole bunch about Team WE, who's looking more like themselves here, and I can't say the same about the teams below them.
I mean, I agree with the consensus, WE, G2, and X, but then again, the consensus before this tournament started was that they'd be the Flash Wolves right up there, so consensus can still be traps. We still do have a lot of matches. The only team that's played twice against SKT is the Gigabyte Marines. So they're the only team to have, you know, that locked in 2 losses, I guess.
That means they've got the easiest schedule from here on out.
Which, again, doesn't mean a lot. We still aren't clear. There's still so many questions. So right now, definitely would say WE and G2, but apart from that, who's to say?
Anyone's game.
Yeah, the only strong consensus that I have really is that Flash Wolves are continuing to struggle, which is fairly obvious, but I feel like it's mostly because of MMD. Until the team can figure out how to hide him, I don't really see them making top 4 at this point.
Right, well, if this tournament has proven anything, is that predictions can be broken. So we'll see if that is done later in this week. It's time now for us to turn off the lights here in Rio. So for myself and everyone here bringing you the 2017 Midseason Invitational, thank you for joining us. Good night and GG.
There's a lot of options here for the GPL and the Gigabyte Marines. They're taking on LCK's SK Telecom.
They're actually doing it, the Gigabyte Marines. These Nutters are about to ace SKT.
They're going to tell them, don't take the journey! Team Solo Men tried to engage, but they're losing their members' HP left and right. A killing spree for Xie as Hornster goes down.
Duo lane. Trio lane as Trick comes in for the nice one. That was beautifully played. The exhaust is on a Wild Turtle. Not long for the world. Kill picks up. Goes to Sven for the trade on Trick. Here comes the rest of the fight at start. Gets the double knockback. The Tonso going to buy some time, and 957 trades the kill back. But he's going to lose his life for that one. Still a worth it. Alive for a bit longer. 957 next up. It's only Xie. That is it. The 4-5-way tie for second.
Joined alongside Mitch Cooper, Fourth Balls, and Isaac Azale Cummings Bentley.
That was quite the close-up.
That was super close-up.
By the way, if you ever need advertising space right here, you know, like...
In the front, staying alive, the shields, the heat. He will not fall, and they're going to kill absolutely everybody. Gigabyte Marines smash the fight.
Mithy's brought perks. That's one already. With the attack and the dissonance. Shockwave not even going to get needed. There's the hula hoop sombrero. Perks doesn't need it. Still gets a double kill.
But here's Stricken about lane again.
No summoners.
They're going to dash forward. Where's the dash? Shadow dash from Expect is going to catch Sword on. Betty's the target as well. Expect's on the board. Sven gets another. 1v1 because of course that can happen. Tied for the most kills in MSI history. Optimus may give it up to Peanut to break the record.
Peanut finds his 15th kill of the game, and that's it for the game.
Stolen away before, and he's not gonna. Sven gets it, but here comes the fight. This is crucial. They kick Eternal. They fight him. He's gone. 1 for 0. Trick injured. He's running away and staying alive. TSM's pushing the top side. 20-second respawns. Can they get him? They're gonna get the damage. They're gonna get the time. 50 minutes in. 15-second death timers.
Oh, what the fuck?
The Nexus to